Okay, so there we go. I have the microphone working now. So the stream that was incoming is now here. Let's see if I can get myself on the stream. Boom. Okay, so using software like there we go. Okay, I need to have the microphone mute myself on YouTube because the audio is starting to come in. All right, so the reason I'm live streaming is because, if I can figure out what I'm doing, I'm going to be installing Windows 98 SE for the first time in a really long time on this guy. This is a Dell Inspiron 4000. This is a 1 gigahertz Pentium 3 in here. We'll get into that a little bit later, actually probably pretty soon, because what I have just finished, and the reason I'm starting this is that I've got my trusty ThinkPad T510 here, which I just used to use image burn to burn a CD, not a DVD. This is a CD, my friend. I actually had some trouble getting CDs. I had to order them specially from Amazon just for getting this Inspiron 4000 set up. Yeah, let's go ahead and tilt down, I think. You guys are going to have to see a little bit of my gut, but we'll look at the computers. So yeah, the Inspiron 4000. We can probably tilt this a little better. Oh yeah, look at that view. So yeah, so this theoretically is a fresh copy of Windows 98 SE off of my ThinkPad, and we're going to boot it up. So right now, this Dell Inspiron 4000, we'll use the ThinkPads are great as stands for other computers that you're doing stuff with. So, actually, let me get my power adapter plugged in, since this is probably going to be a pretty lengthy install. I actually had to buy the power adapter separately from the computer, because the computer, which is in pretty darn good shape for, I think this was released in 2000, either 2000 or 2001, I'm pretty sure it was 2000. Pretty good shape for a computer of that age. Let's get in here. So it does have Windows XP installed right now. I'm not going to use a pin to pop out the CD tray so I can get it in here to boot from it on the first try. But here it is booting up. We can see the Dell way into Windows XP. So this is actually a pretty high resolution display, actually higher resolution than any of the used ThinkPad. Post screen, working at its woods. I've purchased, of course, I got my X240 upgraded to a full HD display. But this one is an SXGA display, which is 1280 by 1024, which is a pretty good resolution. I mean, look how small the start or the taskbar down here is. So, the only reason I booted up, I actually didn't even really need to let it boot all the way into Windows. You know what, I should turn this and try to let you guys see a little bit of this retro action, though, frankly. There's nothing that crazy about a CD drive. Yeah, the only reason I had to boot this up was so I could stick the CD in. And we are going to go back out. We'll use the Dell track point. I've actually started to get acclimated to the track point, but one thing I will tell you, it's a pretty loud speakers for such an old computer. The speakers that you get on laptops, especially with ThinkPads, are pretty interesting. We'll just go turn off. I like that it just booted right into it, so I at least know, because I always turn Verify off in image burn because it takes forever. It's good to know that the Windows 98 CD burned correctly, and that we should be in good shape to get this installation started. So, we'll just wait patiently as this operates. You know what? I shut it down instead of restarting like a doofus. Talked about it. It's F12 our way to get into the boot menu. Oh, there it is. Listen to that CD drive hum. That is not a good sound, but it's fine. So in addition to the CD-ROM, while we're waiting on this, oh, here we go. Here's our boot menu. CD drive. They say that claims CD, DVD, CDRW drive, which I'm pretty sure this is not. I'm quite certain this is just a CD-ROM, but that would be pretty darn sweet if it actually could burn CDs and read DVDs. I would have spent, I've been waiting, I actually got the power adapter in for this yesterday, So I had to wait for the CDs to come in. Otherwise, I could have done this yesterday. What? Why did it not boot from the CD? Why did it not boot from the CD? So we are doing a live stream, and this is one of the things that can happen on a live stream, is that the computer might not boot from the CD. Let me, before I reboot, because this is a modular CD drive. Okay, so yeah, and it showed up right before. Yeah, it should definitely be fine. We're gonna go ahead and try this again. We will restart this time just to save ourselves, one button press, and we will sit back and wait for this to go. So, I'm trying to think of things I can kill time to talk about as I take a sip of Diet Dr. Pepper. Other stuff. So I did get a couple of pretty good deals lately on other stuff. One is back there by the TV. I don't think you can really see that. We will try CD drive again. Press enter. Okay. Press enter. Did I miss the cue to press any key to boot from CD? No, it's going straight to the hard drive. So this is officially a little bit annoying. So, see, now I'm tempted to just make a, I don't think this will boot from USB. I was trying to say I could make a bootable USB of some Linux distro, or even just another, a Windows 7 or something. An ISO I know works, and just totally format this hard drive, and that way it doesn't even have the option of booting from the hard drive. Let me see. I don't think, since I'm in Windows XP, if I just go run the Windows 98 stuff, I don't think it's gonna do anything for me. I don't think it's gonna give me an option to install. But how's the contents of this Windows 98? Please reinsert your Windows 98 CD-ROM. See. But I think part of that, let's just browse it from the File Explorer. I'm just going to make sure things look normal in here, as normal as I think a Windows 98 CD should look. We've got the setup, got a Windows 98 folder, yeah, which has all sorts of stuff, ScanDisk, all the stuff that should be in Windows 98, so this definitely looks like it's actually Windows 98. So, I think I'm going to reboot again, and rather than just, hoping that boot menu works this time, we are going to hop into the BIOS and just see if there are any likely settings that I can change there. While I'm doing that, I should get out of PowerPoint and maybe consider doing a little bit of Google research just to see. It's F2. So we're going to set up rather than the boot menu. I guess I should. It's going to let you watch me Google search, but we should put this back on. So here we are in the boot menu, or in the BIOS. CD-ROM. It does see it. So this is okay. Well, the time. I don't think the time being wrong should be an issue. I don't know if I want to correct that. You know what? The battery on this is pretty good. So while I'm here, 538. Was it right? And I don't know. It doesn't seem that way. Okay, but this is May 20. Is this the 26th? I think. 2018. Okay. Now, this is what is today? The 23rd. Wow, just way off. I have no idea what today is. I am on vacation next week, so my head is not in it lately. I should have known today is Wednesday. Okay, well, so we have the date set. Alt-P. Let's go through pages. So here we are on boot order. So can I move, change values? Can we move this up? This category controls. So they're all grayed out as if, you know, it doesn't want to let me. It's got the diskette drive first. I do have some floppy disks being delivered. I do have the modular floppy drive, which, well, since I'm mentioning it, may as well show off. Upside down. There's the floppy. I paid $3 for 2 floppy disks because I drive. I have a couple of disks coming, but this is the only device, so I guess that would work with Windows XP, so I could try to create a recovery disk to boot into, but so it doesn't look like it is going to let me change this boot order because it looks like, you know, oh, okay. See, so one of the reasons why you should read, especially if you're live streaming to the internet, is that the instructions will a lot of times tell you what's going on. So I was reading these to change values down here. I was thinking, well, that should move them up and down, and it worked on the previous page. But over here, press U or D to move them. So let's see if, hey, how about that? How about if we just do our thing? It'll work. So let's escape. Do you want to save your changes? I do. And now it should, we don't even have to go into the boot menu because it should try to boot from the CD right away. No. So it is not booting from the CD, and it's bumming me out a little bit because I bought this 10 pack of CDRs, and that's one down. And so I don't know. So I'm trying to decide. I don't even know if like this Core 2 or this i5 machine. I have a couple of other machines with CD-ROMs. Or DVD drives that I could try putting this into to see if they could boot from it. Because I mean, it didn't even think about booting from that. It just like, you know, it checked, it decided, not bootable. Let's explore. So I'm just hopping back into the Windows 98 disk. I need to see if anyone is watching this. I doubt it. But if so, someone might have something in the chat too. Might have a suggestion for what is going on. I am going to Google though. So let's Inspiron 4000 not booting from CD. So, let's move this over and I'll show you what I'm Googling. Hard drive on my Inspiron. I changed the boot order. So, I mean, this, to me, almost looks like this person's problem is that their CD drive is dead. Yeah, I mean, this person's thing looks like a hardware problem. So, which is not, I think, my issue, because the CD drive definitely works. Problems booting from disk on Dell Inspiron 4000. I do know that Windows will not boot. Okay, so, I mean, I think my next move is probably to burn an Ubuntu disk. So, or, God. I need to find a Linux distribution that is small enough to fit on a CDR. Small Linux distros. Ubuntu Mate. I don't know. don't think that's... I know I've heard about this one. I've heard of it. I've heard good things. We will see. Less than 2 gigs of RAM. So this thing has 380 megabytes of RAM. By the way, do we have a size 1.74 gigabytes? So, I mean, I guess maybe I could spread this over multiple CDs, but one, that's going to take a long time to burn, which is kind of bumming me out for this live video, because I was expecting if there was going to be a long time waiting, that it was going to be watching Windows 98 install, not watching a Linux disk burn. So what's Linux fits on 1 CD? All right, and this is from 2017 on the Linus Tech Tips website. Sorry for blocking your ads, guys, that I'm sure are there. So Puppy Linux is actually one that, now that I think of it, I've heard it mentioned on Twit. Pretty sure Leo has talked about Puppy Linux. So look at this, it functions. I've heard someone talk about Puppy Linux. So we are gonna rock and roll with Puppy Linux. 32-bit. Compatibility, yeah, that looks fine. That looks fine. We'll go for the main download. Oh God, I just got a new mouse. Also got a little, sort of RSI type of thing going on. Okay. So my mousing isn't the most on point at the moment unless I really need to dive in and give it the full grip. So we are going to switch things around. You know what? Let me get the camera moved. Or the camera back. I'm going to put the Dell Inspiron aside. You know what? This is an old enough machine that I want to be careful moving it around in case the hard drive is in use. So we're going to put the Dell Inspiron 4000 aside, pop open the 510. Image burn's already open waiting for us. So I have a little file share set up on my home network, which is convenient for these types of situations, because that's going to allow us to get this Puppy Linux ISO moved over to this laptop that has a CD drive, because my big gaming computer and video editing and video encoding computer, while reasonably powerful, does not have a CD or DVD drive. So let's go grab this ISO. I guess I'll let you watch what I'm doing. I'll grab that ISO. There's downloads folder we were already in. What's this Windows? This PC. We'll go to my server. We'll go to tech. I'm just going to drop this right in the tech folder for now. Copying over. Okay, so so we will now go over on the laptop to our server, to tech, yada yada yada. While I'm doing this, we will get a CD out. We will grab our Puppy Linux and drop that right on the desktop. So unfortunately the copy over is not going to be as quick as the copy to the file server was, because that computer is on a wired gigabit connection, and I think this is 802.11g. No, so this is a dual band. So this is going to be an in. This is probably an N150. Actually, you know what? It would have to be an N600 if it's a dual band card. So it should be able to go fast. I guess that was actually just Windows Explorer bugging out that it looked like it was getting off to such a slow start, because it's already done. We will pop our CD in. And so the CDs I got, I'm hoping they're not going to let me down. I got these on Amazon, so I'm sure they're in good shape. But these are verbatim CDs. So I actually used to do some tech support at a company, a software company called Photodex, which made photo slideshow software. I guess they still do. They're still kicking. And we had a lot of people, a lot of our customers burn CDs and DVDs, and Verbatim is one of the brands. There's actually a website, I can't remember it at all, that would give you the breakdown of like the very best brands of discs to buy, because they would test them, and Verbatim was always right at the top. There's like this, weird Japanese brand that's like a discount store type of thing. It's like if Costco was really into making, it looks like I'm shilling for Dr. Pepper, that was perfect. But if Costco was making, you know, DVDs and CDs, this would be what they were doing. So that was actually, they always tested the best. So we had a lot of people who burned a ton of DVDs, and we'd say, hey, it's worth it. Get online, order a bunch of these Japanese DVDs. It'll be worth it. But Verbatim was always right there in terms of the testing. So we would say Verbatim is the, you know, the best brand that there's a decent chance you can get your hands on. Sony, if you're looking for optical media, Sony actually, in terms of widespread availability, was always the best. Usually the most expensive, and actually not quite as good as Verbatim or that other crazy Japanese brand, but very close and much more widely available than Verbatim, unfortunately. All right, we are at 23%. 25, okay. We are working our way through that disk burn. So once we get that disk burned, we're going to move that over to the Inspiron 4000. And that Linux CD should give us an idea, because I'm pretty confident, look, you get Windows 98 SE, you download that in 2018. Or I can't remember exactly where I got this copy. Who knows exactly what you're getting. It was inside of a zip. That seemed weird to me, that it was inside of a zip file, and then I had to extract the zip to get to the ISO. But then the ISO burned just fine, and it's, you know, it sort of loads as if it wants to work. But you never know what you're getting when you're just downloading just like Windows 98 randomly from the internet in 2018. So this Linux disk should give us a much better idea. Oh, do I have anything interesting I can show? I do have, it's a little tough to, I'm a little crowded for space to actually show it because the battery's dead. But I got a pretty sweet deal over the weekend. I actually got two pretty nice deals lately. This one is within reach, though. This is an old MacBook, and it's not a phenomenal deal. I'll try to cover my belly. It's not a phenomenal deal because it's an obsolete MacBook. It's one that Apple actually has listed as obsolete on their website. But it's still a MacBook Pro. It's still in pretty darn good shape. This is a 2006-2007 15-inch MacBook Pro, the A1211 model. I picked this up locally on Craigslist for 25 bucks. So I got this from like a local IT contractor who picked this up from one of his clients who no longer needed it. And he estimated that, oops, sorry for bumping the mic, he estimated that this had just been sitting around for 5 or 6 years without any use. Okay. So our disk finished. It says all attempts to close the drive tray have failed. Well, duh, it's a laptop. We'll pop that out. So now, let's see if we can do any better on our Inspiron. So let's go ahead and get the CD in. Our puppy Linux. We will keep that Windows 98 CD in case there's any chance we can reuse it. But my concern is, so I do have 8 more CDs, which is plenty if I'm realistic, but I don't want to have to buy any more. It's not like they're crazy expensive. I think I paid $5.99 for that 10-pack. But it's enough that I don't want to have to order more. Because once I'm done, once I have the Ethernet drivers installed on this, I'm pretty sure I should be able to get it connected to the file server, which means I shouldn't need to use CDs to move data over here. You know, obviously I'm not going to keep this connected to the internet often because it's like crazy super unpatched. Let's turn off and restart. And I should be able to, like I was doing earlier after I changed that boot order. We'll put the MacBook Pro back since we're in action. I should be able to just let it go straight to the CD since I changed the boot order. And it should try to boot from the CD first. But we will see. CD drive making noise. Making noise. It's booting from the disk. Okay. So this is a good sign because it means that it's a problem with that disk image. So we'll just let Puppy Linux do its thing and make noise with my CD-ROM. I'm assuming it's probably just going to boot into live CD mode. So Windows 98 SE disk image. So this is for, these are, oh, I'm back on the computer, so we will, instead of having you just stare at that laptop while Puppy Linux does its thing, we'll let you watch me Google in this incognito window. So, Puppy Linux. Oh, where was, I guess I closed my tab. Windows. SE. Okay, so, let's look at a few of these. These files are small enough. Let's see what they have. Let's go ahead and look at these. These files are small enough that, is this a download link right here? That I can download a few of these. They're about 500 megabytes in size. No, it's just for that. Okay, so there are these different downloads. So this looks like where I got it earlier. So look at how many of these there are. Retail full sounds like what I probably want. This looks very familiar though. So I'm pretty sure I took Julian earlier. So it looks like these actually are 7Z files, or 7-zip files. So whoever ripped these just used 7-zip, and they knew that whoever would be downloading them would be using 7-zip. Okay, so select, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and grab OEM full while I'm at it. Shit, let's just hit all the different countries. Let's grab Germany. Those are all English, I believe. These at the top, because we have the different languages down here. And yeah, so I feel like one of those should get the job done, but these are both downloading as 7-zip files. Oh god, the downloads are slow. Is that me? Am I killing? No, I picked two different servers. So I was thinking I might be hurting, you know, hammering their server, that they just don't have a lot of bandwidth dedicated to this, but I don't think so. All right, so that's exciting to wait on. Puppy Linux, in the meantime, has totally frozen. Or not frozen, but we're just on a black screen. I probably missed some highly important warning. Since we've got power, we will go ahead and hopefully eject. Apparently not. So, to summarize where we are, I've got an itchy spot. I need to, I don't know, get some medicated shampoo or something. It's not good. I've got an itch. So what we've learned so far is that installing Windows 98 2nd edition is not as easy as installing Windows 10, even on an age-appropriate machine. Because believe it or not, I think I may have, actually no, I never actually made an attempt to install Windows 98 on my ThinkPad R60, which is a Core Duo machine, not even Core 2 Duo, just Core Duo. And that one originally had 1 gig of RAM, or 1 gig of RAM when I got it, so I thought, you know, this could be a really sweet Windows 98 machine. Except for apparently it does not play nicely with more than a gig, or more than 512 megs of RAM. And it doesn't support dual cores, though it appears that if I could have gotten it working, it probably, for that, would have just only recognized 1 core. So it wouldn't have really been a big deal. Would have been 1 really darn fast core for Windows 98. We're about halfway there. It says 3 minutes left on the first download, which was the retail version. So, I don't know, hopefully that does something. We've got to get this disk out of here. So, we're just going to have to power off, I think. We've got getting no response. Oh, how disappointing it. You see, maybe hitting the power button triggered it to want to. So if it wasn't a live CD, it may have like gone to sleep. Hey, okay, disk out. So I'll just boot up into Windows XP. All right, well, that's 2. I will go ahead. Let me see if I've got a Sharpie. I can label this. I've got some fat Sharpies. All right, we've got a generic brand Sharpie. So I have some fat sort of paintbrush type Sharpies. This will, you never know, now that I've got some vintage computers around, you never know when Puppy Linux will come in handy. Alright, there we go. So we've got our Puppy Linux disk. We will just put that back here with the Xbox 360 games that I may or may not ever play. Actually, SSX is in there, so I will probably play that at some point. Dead or Alive 4, actually probably the best game in here. I have never played. It would be worth playing. I recently bought an Xbox 360, which came with these 3 games. I bought it mostly to play NCAA Football 2014, which is the last version of NCAA Football ever made. It still says, okay, well, we're down to 2 minutes. It had still been saying 1 minute left. Hopefully this retail copy of Windows 98 gets it done, because, I don't know, I'm going to shrink myself so we can see it. Is that not how that works? Is that not how that works? Oh, I was shrinking the display. I'm a noob to OBS, so give me a break. Oh, look at that. That is sweetness. So yeah, we are just waiting on stuff to finish downloading. I'll have another sip of Dr. Pepper. Oh. So this is taking a while. Let's see if we have any viewers at all so far. One watching now. I'm not sure if that's just me. Hey, if you're in the chat, say something so I know you're there. Otherwise, if this disk image doesn't work, I might just have to call it quits on this video for today, because it looks like we're not getting anywhere. That's going to be some more in-depth troubleshooting than I think is necessarily wise to do while live streaming. So it's kind of troubleshooting where, you know, you're going to get distracted a little bit because it's a lot of work. That's, you know, you're doing real work troubleshooting when you get to that level. So the time in Windows XP is wrong. Date is correct though. So who cares? We're going to be reinstalling Windows. I presume this guy does need a new CMOS battery, which is not a big deal. Get the exact model. Can probably track one down at a local store for cheap. Alright, our download is finished. Show in folder. Let's unzip this bad boy. We are unzipping. So I guess while that's going, again, just to show you what I'm cooking with, I don't have a super high-end system. I'm rocking an AMD Ryzen 5 1400. It's not just a quad core. It's on the, I think that's actually the lowest end of the Ryzen 5s. But it is a quad core. I've got it overclocked to 3.7 gigahertz, so get pretty good performance out of this. That's on a stock cooler, which is probably a little bit unwise, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be upgrading this CPU before long anyway, so you know, if I shorten its lifespan slightly, that's not a huge deal to me, and it rarely gets over like 75, 80 C anyway, so it's not too bad. I'm not too worried about it. So that finished unzipping. Let's focus, Andy. Focus. So there's a picture of the disk, which looks pretty darn good to me. Looks like the right disk. So let's get our M drive back up. If I can find that. Let's move Windows 98 over. We'll get another CD out of our package of CDs. We will, at least having these two side by side, the front opening disk or CD drive allows me to not have to move things around too much. That's convenient, but not by design. I don't think this was what they had in mind when they were designing the Dell Inspiron 4000. So that's just a nice little stoned observation there. So, I don't know what I'm waiting for, because we just need to... Oh, God, I am such an idiot. I am such an idiot. Wrong computer, Andy. Wrong computer. So, let's get this in the right computer. I'll have to get stuff moved over. Come on, image burn. Come at me, bro. I don't care about your messages. Let's go to... So, this is actually going to be an interesting test. What is the... 428, what? So here's the one that I actually... You can't see this. Yeah, this is the wrong screen up. I'm trying to compare, actually, the file that I downloaded, which looks better. It's bigger. It's like 100 megs bigger than the one I burned last time. And it's also just the ISO right there. And it doesn't have... The one I had before had sort of a weird version number on it. And was inside of a folder. No, it's exactly the same. Fuck! I mean, just how annoying. Oh, God. 637, 440. What's this other one? 637, 440. It's exactly the same. So that makes me wonder, does... Shut up. Does image burn... Are there any settings that I need to be aware of for burning a Windows 98 disk? We'll do it with a new copy of the disk image. In terms of the other download, you know, the server speeds have stayed pretty slow. This is bumming me out. So this file transfer is almost done. If I have an Ethernet cord, I can squeeze over here when I need to move a lot of data around. Okay, let's grab the disk image. I'm going to let it verify, even though I think on the last one it couldn't. Said it couldn't verify. File system. I mean, I don't know. I think this should be okay. I'm just right now, I'm plugging through these different image burn settings. Look like they're different drive settings. This is for the drive that you're burning with. Write speed, book type. I don't know, there are no... Alright, well, let's try it. Third CD. Starting the burning process right now. Let's get that so you can see if we can find any angle where you'll be able to see the progress bar. This, at some point, I've got to upgrade the panel. It's going to be right here. It's at 0% now. I've got to at some point put an IPS display in the T510 because a TN panel is shown its limitations. So, Windows 98. Bootable CDs. We're going to do a little more Googling. I'm just going to make sure I'm just not just doing something totally stupid and that image burn just won't work. Okay. So this thread is making me wonder if the exact disk image, I mean, it says it's for computers without Windows, the one I downloaded. So surely, I'm going to tilt this up a little, so we're not just staring at my belly the whole time. So surely it should be bootable, right? If it works, you know, if it's a Windows 98 ISO and it's legit, which that stuff looks pretty legit to me. If I'm honest, it looks pretty legit to me. I'm gonna try and stay in frame for you. Man, I don't know, but maybe it wasn't bootable. So there's a lot of talk. Easiest, yeah. Here I am again. So this website, automatic boot disks. So I'm wondering if I can put one of these. I might have to. Worst comes to worst. So I bought the floppy drive for this thing. Again, we'll just take another look at the floppy drive because why not? It's adorable. It was only $5. It didn't actually come with the Inspiron 4000. But when I was reading reviews to decide if I wanted to pick this up, because I was looking at a few different, I wanted a Pentium 3 system. I wanted a fast Pentium 3. It's like a 1 gigahertz, 1.2. Like a 1.2, or I think they even released a 1.3. Would have been sweet. But those are quite rare, I think. So that wasn't a realistic option. So 1 gigahertz I was very pleased with. And when I was deciding if I wanted to get an Inspiron 4000, I found out the modular drive, and it's so easy to swap that I had to go with it. So I at least do have that as an option. No RAM drive. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and download this Windows 98 SE image. It's so tiny that I think it's, you know, ludicrous that I might end up booting from a CD with a 1 megabyte image, an image designed for a floppy drive. I don't even know if that'll work, actually. I've got downloads. I'm just killing myself with these different File Explorer windows. I'm not good at File Explorer. I'm a noob. Okay. So we've got the boot disk downloaded. We are at 84%, 85 on our burn. Back here, we'll see. I think that may have been the best angle. I don't know, yeah. It's like, I don't know what the sweet spot is. So, this disk, we should label this is our failed Windows 98 disk. The first one. Windows 98 SE did not work. I suspect this is going to be another one. So, there we go. Windows 98 SE, sad face. We'll pop this one out. And we're not even going to wait for it to cool off. We're just going to move it straight over to the Dell. We will tilt back down. Straight over to the Dell. We'll tilt you. We'll get the camera back. We'll get the camera back right. I need to add the second camera. So it's trying to, it brought up the same stuff. It's making noise again. It's like, oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute. But, you know, there's no option here to install. So we're going to reboot again. I'm saying there's no way this is going to work. So while I'm waiting for that to not work, I don't know why I closed that drive. I need to move on to disk number 4. And I barely count the disk that's on the top of the pile when you get like a stack of CDs. Because one on the top of the pile has a lot of exposure. One on the bottom of the pile has some exposure too. So I almost don't even want to count those. So this is disk number 4. We will go back to our tech folder and grab this tiny little disk image file. Let's see, yeah, did not boot. Did not boot. Bad laptop. Bad laptop. Okay. there if all your ways to automatically close the drive have failed. That's what the verify is. Okay, so again, that's why you want to turn verify off. So here we go. Let's find our image, hopefully. Hopefully this supports the IMG file. I think it should. Yep. IMG, 1.4 megabytes. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Image burn freezing up. So this is annoying. Right? To that floppy drive. What a fucking pain in the ass. What a fucking pain in the ass. God. Alright, well this other, the OEM version of Windows is at 3 minutes left. We'll try that. That will be CD number 5 of 10. And if that doesn't work, I will shut off the stream and go down for the long research, because this is becoming a little bit too much for me. So what ImageBird is saying, I don't know if I read it, but it's saying invalid or unsupported image file format on this floppy disk boot image, which I'm pretty sure would have worked. Because there's just something about this image I'm writing. Where's the downloads? Let's go back to our list of 98 downloads. So there's a first edition to second edition. Don't need that. OEM full. I think that makes a degree of sense to me. I think retail full makes even more sense. Those should both be bootable. Select, I mean, I'm trying to look at none of these are like significantly bigger. You know, should I try a different language? Just in... I'm reading these comments to see this guy actually has a very similar sounding issue with this, and nothing is going on with when he puts his disk in. He has a blank hard drive, which is one of the things I considered with this, like just nuke the hard drive and see if I can force the computer to try and boot from that disk. So I have to wait. Okay. Done yet? We're getting there. 50 seconds left about. Share the disk. So I mean, I think this laptop is old enough that I'm quite certain I shouldn't be having like secure boot type of issues. Because this is way before, like, UEFI. Never said that out loud. Remember UEFI being a big deal, or like just being a pain in my ass right around the time when Windows 98 launched. So it was probably a little bit before that on higher end machines, but as a low end machine guy, disks are missing. Found another ISO. So, this is a valid situation that I need to not just trust that one freaking source as my go-to. Can't get it to work. It says I don't have enough space. 5 stars. This person is hoping it probably seems to think it works. Where's our download? Link ISO image. This one is the straight up ISO image, 625. I'm just curious, is that the exact same size? Oh! So our other one finished. OEM finished. Ugh, can we figure these out? Retail. Okay, so this must be the OEM one. I could always just go to my downloads and look, but alright, so we'll see if I don't feel super optimistic about this, unfortunately. I don't think there's going to be anything different. I'm not feeling it. But this website looks so legit. They have so many different versions. Like, I don't know. The fact that, like, no one is... Actually, it's the website I already closed. I'm in incognito mode, so it won't come back easy. Was this them? No, this is... Yeah. They have so many different downloads. But there's no one just saying, hey, it works awesome. I mean, I don't want to have to try DOS. Oh, God. Noob. Here we go. So, here we go. I'm just curious. 642.26. 6. Okay, well, it's a slightly different size. So we will hope and pray that this one has a little bit of magic for us. Well, okay, so that is the still blank disk that I used to try and burn the weak-ass floppy boot image. That did not work at all. That's finished, so we will... Gotta make the laptops big again. So let's go grab that from our file share. Where's the new one? Because I brought an entire folder over, right? Oh, there it is. I'll just grab the ISO. There we go. That's transferring. So one of the things that's cool about this Dell is this was a pretty high-end machine at the time. So as you can probably tell from the webcam, I'll even try and make it more fair. Actually, yeah, the Dell screen, I was trying to get the angles lined up, but it was actually even less fair for the Dell. This Dell screen is a lot better than this crappy TN panel on this much newer, much more modern, much more capable today ThinkPad T510. So this is an i5. This is a very usable computer. I got a great deal on this one. I think I showed this off in a previous video. Paid 83 bucks on eBay. There was no hard drive, but I had extra hard drives around, so that was not a big deal at all, and it works. Did not come with a power cord, but I had the one for the R60, which is not in such great shape. I was able to improve the R60's bezel situation a little bit. You can go watch the video on that to get a closer look at what's wrong with it, by adding just a whole bunch of super glue. I am scratching again. I've got... bad saying. Okay, so it's done. Copying over here. As you might be able to tell, I'm fading. I was expecting this to go more smoothly. I thought I would be searching for drivers right now and, like, you know, talking about, you know, plans to build my own great driver repository for old stuff. We're already on the network. The desktop. Where are you there? Windows 98 second edition. Okay, so that's it. This is it. So we will give this a shot. We will let that burn. And God willing, we will be on our way to installing Windows 98. Trying to think, I was looking for other stuff I can show off. So one thing that actually came in, I did just get some new stuff, not much in the way of vintage, but an accessory for, where's the HP jack? Not the HP, the Samsung jack. Is it on? I have it powered off. But so the Samsung jack is one of my recent Windows Mobile acquisitions. And as part of my strategy for playing around with this, since this is a 3G capable, or even like It might even be certified as 3.5G capable. I did pick up a Cricket Sim. So I usually use Verizon where I live. It just works a lot better. But AT&T is okay. It's usable. So I think this Cricket Sim should activate fine for me. And it's a 3-in-1 SIM card thingy, the 3 different sizes. So even though this uses the old school classic SIM size, I'm covered. And I should be able, I'm hoping, let's pop this open while we're waiting. We're 10% over here. I'm hoping that it's like an adapter where I can actually move the SIM card in between this HP, not HP, why do I keep wanting to call this an HP? The Samsung jack and my Moto G5. Because I'm going to be traveling some, and where I live, as you might be able to gather, it's pretty rural, so there's no Uber around here, but I'm going to need to be Ubering some. And you can't do that on a Windows Mobile 6.5 device, unfortunately. I wish you could. I wish you could. Okay, nice. So it is like a 3-in-1 type of, adaptable SIM card situation. Unfortunately, it looks like it's a pretty permanent break, but I bet with a little bit of tape, you can put them back together. So oh, actually, I shouldn't be showing the SIM card number now that I think about it. So I'll have to, well, it was live. Hopefully no one will activate this or try to mess with it before I do anything. That would be very rude. That would be very rude. Okay, 38%. So I was showing this MacBook Pro earlier that I got over the weekend, and I got a great deal. I paid $25. I think I was like building up the suspense to how much I paid on it. $25. Like we saw earlier, there are a few scratches on the lid, but not too bad. And if we pop it open, the inside is in great shape too. The inside's in even better shape. So the keyboard has a little bit of wear on it, but not much. And a really great classic MacBook Pro. This is one of the few MacBooks that I have any real nostalgia for, because those first gen MacBooks, right after they went Intel, right after they made that switch, were the MacBooks that I lusted after the absolute most, because I was starting college right at that time. And I wanted a MacBook Pro so bad with an Intel processor, because they were powerful enough that you could play some games in them on the Windows side, but have a Mac for just like, your normal, just like everyday using it stuff. It was my dream computer. Unfortunately, I had gateway money, so I didn't get one. So here it is, 12 years later, I finally have the early Intel MacBook Pro I always wanted. It still works. We'll see. I don't think the battery has even enough juice to even think about booting. Nope. So I've had it plugged in. I had it plugged in a lot over the weekend. I played around with it a bunch. I actually have it pretty nicely loaded up with old apps. So I'm going to enjoy playing with it. I've already ordered a battery, but the battery as it is totally dead. Which I'm guessing it has been dead for years, which is why it hasn't been used in so long. And also why it's in such good shape, because it's just been sitting around. So unfortunately, it's a little bit obsolete. It had 2 gigs of RAM installed when I got it, which I believe was probably factory installed, because it also had the 256 megabyte video card, the Radeon X1600, I think. So it was the higher end 15-inch unit at the time, which was cool. All right, you're done burning this disk. Shut up, image burn. So this is a very cool computer. Unfortunately, I've got Snow Leopard on it, and a lot of stuff seems it's fine. It doesn't do well on the web at all. So sites that are compatible with Safari, so if you go to the old version of Reddit, Safari actually still does okay. Sites that are compatible with that old version of Safari actually are surprisingly functional. And since Opera is new enough on it that it's using the built-in WebKit rendering engine, which Safari is, Opera works pretty well also. But you're going to run into some issues on some websites that don't like that older version of Safari. So what are we going to call this one? Useless Windows XP CD2. What's my situation? So we just went to sleep. We don't need any of this. I like that it's not automatically like bringing me to the same thing. At the very least, I know this is a legitimately different disk. All right. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. You guys can see this. I don't need to tilt that. Make it a yes. All right. Boot from CD-ROM. We are in. We are in. We are installing Windows 98. I was ready to wrap this up. All right. Start. Windows 98 setup from CD-ROM. Boom. This driver is provided by Oak Technology. We are in. All right. So, I'm not sure that I've ever actually installed Windows 98. I spent a lot of time using Windows 98. Look at this resolution. That's beautiful. It's such a high-res panel that this is hilarious to me. I used Windows 98 a lot. We had a 486. That was an office hand-me-down computer that had Windows 98 SE installed that I used a lot. So I've got to focus because it's been a while since I've done the vintage installations. Other than on already nuked hard drives, which make it simple to set up Windows now. Press enter. Let's do that. Remove files and reconfigure hard disk. That sounds good. That's on your disk too. Configure hard disk. Press yes to back up your file. Yeah, we'll say yes because we're going to nuke this hard drive. Yes, enable large disk support because I've got a 20 gig hard drive in here. I need large disk support. Setup will restart your computer. Please make sure it's in drive A. To continue, press A or enter. All right, we are rebooting because we are going to do a little bit of drive formatting. Always exciting. No quick format here. Actually, I think this is going to be a quick format. We'll see. See, now here's my thing. If I boot from hard disk. Okay, press F2. No, that's not what I needed. That's not what I needed. Okay, so what happened there is that it had already done its thing clearing the hard drive, at least enough to... I attempted to boot from the hard drive. I thought it had maybe gotten to the point where like it had thrown like a meg of setup stuff on the hard drive, like DOS, and that it could boot from the hard drive instead of booting from the CD again. I was confused. I thought it was going to just like start the entire process over if I booted from the CD again. But we're learning. We're learning about installing Windows 98 as we do it. We'll move that out. That's going to be distracting on camera, I think. As if all this other shit isn't distracting. Formatting drive C, 1% of drive format, 2%. Okay, this isn't taking too long. We'll see if we can... Guys, I don't know if there's going to be any sort of a good way to make that easier to see. We can try bringing the camera in. We can try it. We can try this out. I think this is the longest I've live streamed with it, so... Oh yeah, just some classic Windows 98. It is so tiny on this screen. Please wait. Setup is formatting your hard disk. And I'm just now realizing, with my nice pull-away shot, I did not name this live stream at all. Let me go do that. Let me go give this bad boy a name. My second live stream. A second live stream. It's the current name. I don't know why there's no A. What are we going to call this? Oh, let's keep this simple. Installing Windows 98 SE Live. Dell Inspiron 4000. We're just going to keep it simple. I could put a description in, but I feel like those are probably the types of details that are best added before you started. Let's see, is it even gonna let me? Oh, it says all changes saved. So I guess they are. So here we go. We'll see. Oh God. Let's look at our stats. Look at our stats. All right. So I think we've got the title change for the stream. We will check back in on formatting. We are at 17%. So this process is going a little bit slow. That's okay. All right, 20%. We are just watching the percentage go up now. This is compelling TV. It really is. Because I'm running out of things to say. Because this has been going on a while. We got it working. So this dry formatting is going to take at least another 10 minutes. We're at 23%. And I have a feeling it's going to slow down before it finishes. So I think this is going to be the end of Chapter 1 for installing Windows 98. Let's not kid ourselves. Windows 98 is going to be installed by the time Chapter 2 starts. We'll see how many drivers are installed and what additional software makes it onto this system. But I think at this point, it's been quite an adventure just getting Windows 98 to start installing. And that's a victory for me, the fact that we've gotten this far. So we'll be hitting you with another video soon. Let me know if you have any questions about, well, anything that you've seen on my channel or tech in general. I'm a reasonably savvy guy, and I don't mind trying to provide an answer. Anyway, that is it. I'm about to hit the stop streaming button, so I hope anyone who's watching this has a great day.